Welcome to the Slice Tennis Podcast. Shout out to everybody for being here. And also shout out to our presenting sponsor, Betway. We love us some Betway. And in this episode, of course, we're going to give you the best bet of the day. But that's not all we're going to give you. A lot of tournaments happened last week. A lot of winners. Some new winners. Some repeat winners. Some great stories after the tournament in Austin with Pegula and the private jet. We'll get into that later too. Then we're going to talk about the WTA Re-Brand. They released a video announcing the rebrand for this year. WTA trending up, hopefully. Then Indian Wells, surface change. A lot of players, I believe, I haven't heard Steven's thoughts yet. They should be stoked on this one. And then, of course, we got to go read the comments because that has been one of our favorite parts. And since it's one of our favorite parts, we need you guys to be commenting. Comment whatever you want on there. Comment topics you want us to discuss, things we could do better, things we're doing great at, and most importantly, comment what you want to see at the Miami Open because Steven and I will both be there on the ground doing content, and we want to bring you the content that you want to see. So let us know in the comments and also subscribe while you're here. We're at pretty good subscriber growth right now, and that's thanks to you guys. So tell your friends to also subscribe. Steven, do you have a best bet of the day prepared? Or should I read the ad read slower to give you more time?
I'm good. You know, I always pull it up when I need. So you go.
Perfect. Just like this bet that Steven was hopefully going to give us. This is the best bet of the day presented by Betway. Hit an ace with Betway and get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses, plus 50 bonus spins no matter the result. Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create and redeem your welcome offer. Offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offer not available in Ontario. Must be 18 and up. Please play responsibly. Steven, what do we have this week?
That's right. Responsibly is the name of the game. And yeah, so the outright odds for Indian Wells are not up yet. And at the time of recording, the draw is about to drop in like an hour. But what I've been doing and what I hit on actually yesterday was I looked at the challenger in Thionville, probably France, where our guy Liam Draxel, future friend of the show, I have talked to him. I was chatting it up with him courtside in Montreal. He's nice, very nice kid, kind of infamous in the college ranks. JP, I don't know if you've ever seen anything about Liam Draxel, Canadian Bulldog. He didn't go to Gonzaga. He went to Kentucky, so he was a
Wildcat.
He's a Wildcat, but he was like pretty legendary in the college ranks. Anyways, he's working his way up the rankings. He's kind of in that 250 range now, I believe, or even a bit higher. So he's really getting there. But I picked him last night to beat a guy, and he was the plus money, and it hit. So I think if you are responsibly looking at that, again, he's playing Bibit Zukayev from Kazakhstan next, and I would take Liam Draxel all day long. He's at minus 138 here, but a nice opportunity to get 70 cents on your dollar, in my opinion. So yeah, that's the best bet of the day for you from the Challenger Tour. I know a lot of you sickos who are the tennis hardos, you guys play the Challenger Tour, so there you go.
Let's go, man. Liam Draxel, Kentucky Wildcats, SEC, one of our rivals at South Carolina. Shout out to South Carolina's tennis team. We have been doing well. Shout out to my guy, Jelani Starr. So met him in the airport last year, flicked up with him. He's a beast. So we love us some college tennis players making their way into the pros, climbing their way up the ranks in the challengers. And if you watch college tennis, you will have good insight for the betting in the future on Betway. When these guys come up, you're going to know more about them than a lot of people do, which could lead to some responsible money possibly being made. What else happened this week, Steven, with you?
Yeah, you want to get into my week? I don't even know what. Sometimes these weeks just fly by. That's what do they say? The days are long and the years fly by.
If that's not what they say, that's what they should say.
I've definitely heard that. I'm not going to take credit for that. But yeah, what did I even do? Yesterday I went for a walk with my dog and she decided to run away, which is great. I have this dog she's awesome. She's if you can imagine a German Shepherd, gangster looking dog, makes a baby with a little greyhound.
Mm.
And there's part husky in there. Anyways, we rescued her. She was kind of taken from up north in Canada, like the Yukon, so literally like the Arctic Circle, essentially. And so she's this kind of like wolf looking little thing. She's not that little. Like she's like pretty tall, but like only 45 pounds, like skinny.
Right.
Anyway, so there's a beach on the ocean by our place here, and it's kind of enclosed. There's like some hillside around it. And I always let her run around, and it's a dog beach. So there's lots of times other dogs there, but there's no dogs there this time. But usually she's pretty good. But then she like just decided to run up this hillside, which she's done before, but she like just kept going. She was gone. And me and my wife are like running around looking for her. And I'm like not really scared because I'm not like, if she's gonna go get hit by a car, it's like I don't know if I can't really do anything. I don't think she's also like just like.
And is there a lot of traffic near you?
Not really, like in this area. So it's and I don't really like. I'm just more mad at her. I'm like, the longer it goes, like the more like farther I'm gonna punt her when I find her. Not actually, but
just kidding, Peter. Just kidding.
Just kidding. But little face wash into the ground, it's not no big deal. But yeah, and then we eventually find her. So she's just like, we're like, do a few laps. 20 minutes later, she's just like trotting down the street. I'm like, you idiot, come here.
She was just chilling.
Like, yeah, she's like going through people's backyards. Like she's just like, yeah, she's out of control. So, anyways, that was fun. And then it's just been a bunch of baby stuff. And
Shepard looked like he had his first beer.
No, we went for a little cheeky happy hour on Saturday, mom and me and her friend, and he was like, yeah, he's just like eyeballing the beer the entire time. I'm like, whoa, brother. I'm like, he's like literally trying to like eat it. He's like,
hey, he knows what he wants, man.
Scares the grandparents, but very funny, and he might be a legend. So Shepard the booze hound.
He's about to get his first ever tan in Miami.
That's right. He's coming to Miami. For those of you might meet my son, my wife, my co-host, and me in Miami because we're all going to be there. Shepard's going to be getting his tan. Going to be sitting poolside. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, oh man, I can't wait. That's awesome.
I cannot wait. How was your week, JP?
My week was good. I'm going to Montana next week. I can't remember if I said
Yellowstone.
That last week or not. Yeah, Yellowstone. We're doing a little hunting video with the podcast I work for.
Sorry, PETA.
And what's that?
I said sorry, PETA.
Sorry,
we're talking about PETA.
Meat Eater is the one that we're going to. So Steve Rinella, he's a legend. If
that's so sick.
People have not seen his content, y'all gotta go check it out on Netflix, YouTube, whatever it is. So we're stoked on that. And then I'm trying to think what else happened. There was a new New York honky tonk that opened in Nashville, which is kind of interesting because what do we need a New York honky tonk for in Nashville? We have all the honky tonks. But we went to it. It's called.
Wait. Pause. A lot of Canadian listeners. What is a honky tonk?
Honky tonk is basically just a massive bar that has live music going on almost all day, and people will sometimes come out and do some line dancing, any kind of dancing, really, swing dancing. But it's just a huge bar, and this one came from New York, and they had some awesome live music playing. It's called Skinny Dennis, which don't know why it's called Skinny Dennis, but I kind of like the name.
Skinny Dennis.
And it was a cool vibe. We were at our friends before. I went to a college basketball game where there was a buzzer beater, which was awesome. And then I was thinking, I'm like, man, I wonder, and it's pretty much impossible, but if there was ever a scenario you could emulate a buzzer beater type setting in tennis, that would be so awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would do it.
Yeah, I don't know how you would do it either. Like, I think essentially tie breaks are kind of like are the closest we get to it. Right.
But man, if some creative mind out there could think of a way to have some format where we get to see like some, I don't know. Maybe it's like this.
Sport.
Maybe one player has 5 minutes of where they're serving. Other player has 5 minutes of their serving, and somehow or another, that's when you would get your buzzer beater.
Yeah. Or like you turn it into a giant squash thing. It's like, there's a minute on this clock. You guys play a rally. Doesn't matter how many times it bounces on either person's side of the court. It's just like, in the Australian Open where it kind of looks like an arena a bit, like there's walls all the way around. It's like whoever's side of the net the ball is on when this buzzer ends is gets murdered or something.
Hot potato on the tennis court. Imagine just a crowd counting down 5,
Yeah.
4, and they're just wailing it.
Yeah. You're just like dumping. They don't even like throwing it. It'd be pretty chaotic. I think maybe a more legit way would be what they did at the Australian Open, which was actually awesome. I saw some clips of it. It was like a draw. It was 1-point tennis. So they had like some pro players in there, and then they had some like fans, I think, and they were like 1 point. If you would like, and it's just like a quick tournament. It took like half an hour, the whole tournament. And then they're like,
while they're messing around with doubles, that would be awesome if a tournament did take it upon themselves to pair a pro with a fan and have like a player fan tournament happen. And you could obviously get a baseline like of the type of fan that you would have come in, but that could be electric. Just that one tournament a year.
Yeah. And then it's like huge financial incentives if like the player or the fan beats the player. Like something like the player will pay the fan like $10,000 if he loses.
But what I'm saying is it's like Djokovic and a fan versus Alcaraz and a fan.
Yes. No, that would be elite as well. Because you get a lot, like it's fun when there's like a really good player and there's like the fan could be whoever. They could also be a decent doubles player.
Yeah.
There's fun ways to make. I was also thinking on the drive home, I saw Gil Gross has actually been posting a lot more. Like he's just been posting on his personal Instagram, like him hitting, and I've been hitting a bit more. And I was like, there's a creator classic in tennis or in golf. And I think like a little tournament, that happened like right at the beginning of a Masters 1000 or something, like a creator classic. I think people would like to see that.
It would be the smartest thing that the tennis media could ever do, because it has worked in every sport.
And I don't know if I get invited. I hope I would, because like
you would get invited, man.
Stephen Boughton's channel, but
I feel like there's not that many.
There is not. Like it would be like me, Gil Gross. There's a bunch of Instagram accounts that a lot of people don't know. So I don't know, like, or that people on YouTube probably don't know, but like,
right.
So there's like 5 or 6 people I can think of like that.
I'm sure there's some in Europe and everything.
Yeah, definitely. And then and then it would be like, but they have to be able to like play at a certain level. I think for it to be decent, like you got to be at least like a 4.0 or like a 4.5.
Because as it stands right now, I would probably sneak in and I would be the last seed. And that would be.
You think you're a 4.0?
I don't think so.
Well, you could get there. I think you could get there if you just put in a solid training block.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. I want to start taking lessons. If I do start taking lessons, I'm going to film it and I'm going to show people the journey. Good. And then we got old buddy from LMFAO playing in the ITF tournaments. I might have to get in one.
I swear I'd beat him if we played right now, and I never play. But that would be a great segment for the Slice, man. Like, on Barstool Foreplay, they got breaking 90. We got you breaking 4.0.
Yeah, that could be good.
You got to go out there and play a bunch of these old guys who are like ranked 4, like they're like a 4.0 ranking. That was getting chopped by these old guys. Like he's like way more athletic than them. They're just like dinking it past them.
He just never moves.
Yeah,
I like that. I think I'm gonna join. And then maybe one day we can go ahead and get into the results.
Yes,
but how people would be down on me in my tennis as I'm getting whooped up on by these old guys. These same people were probably down on Tsitsipas. But guess what? He came back and he got his dub. It was his 12th ATP 500 final?
Yes.
Or and he finally got his win.
Yep.
And I guess we'll probably just run through these quick, but what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, let's run through them quick and get a quick thought from each of us on them. Yeah, that was awesome. I did a big reaction video to it, talked about his new racket, his match with Felix, how that was a good match. But yeah, Tsitsipas had been down bad and he started to turn around. We actually put him in a best bet of the day. I don't know if you remember that. I think it may have started when you were like, hey, maybe we should throw some money on, I think it was Sonego when he was playing Tsitsipas. JT was trying to pile on Tsitsipas being down bad. He's like, hey, this guy's down.
So
maybe
true.
we can make a quick buck. And I was like, I don't know. A cat like that can't be kept down for too long. So he came back, won that whole tournament. That's very funny. New racket. Everyone's talking about it. Which is like not that common, but like he's a marquee player. A lot of these guys never change their rackets. Like Tommy Paul changed his racket, but Tsitsipas is kind of at a different level of popularity for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was great for him. Tough for Felix, our guy, but another great result for him. And someone I was watching, I won't say who, I was watching another YouTube tennis analyst say that Tsitsipas beat Felix in swift, clean 6-3, 6-3 fashion. I was like, brother, I know you know the stats, and Felix had 7 break points that he didn't convert on. So that match could have easily gone Felix's way. But so it wasn't actually that. It was a pretty close match. And Felix was up in the first set, had breakpoint chances first, didn't convert, and then you got to convert.
Yeah, man.
If you don't convert, you get hurt.
Don't convert, you
get hurt. That sounds
everything
bad.
hurts. Your trophy's smaller, your paycheck's smaller. Your ego is smaller.
I feel like some religious fanatics could take that. You have a hoodie out there that says "Don't convert, get hurt." People might take that.
Yeah, true. You wouldn't want to wear that in Rome. But
yes, no, you wouldn't. I
did love Djokovic's how he put on his Instagram story. Nobody beats you 12 times in ATP 500 and tagged him. To me, it says they have a great relationship, and I love that. I thought it was funny.
Oh yeah, and Tsitsipas, he's a jokester and he loves pranks. Like, and then I think his Instagram post was, they said my game was sinking, so I got a boat, and the trophy is just like
that trophy,
just top notch stuff from
Tsitsipas
and Djokovic there.
I love it. And then the next one in Acapulco, unfortunately for Fokina, he suffered his second loss in the final. But
my guy,
I know, man. Did he fall in this match?
I'm sure he did. I'm not gonna lie. I did not watch. I know.
I didn't watch it either. And help me out. It's Thomas Mahach.
Perfect.
Come
JP.
on. This was his first ATP title.
Mm-hmm.
And he is currently ranked number 20. He's a name I feel like you always see. He wins a few matches in every tournament. He's a great player, obviously, 20th in the world. So to see him win his first title in Acapulco is awesome. I don't know much about him, but I just know I always see his name. And when I do watch him play, it's like, this guy seems cool.
He's an exciting player. He's the guy that has like the shortest shorts. I don't know if that rings a bell. Like he always rolls them up kind of, and they're like literally like shorter than John McEnroe's, which we respect. That's fine. But he is the guy. Shapovalov beat him on the way to the Dallas title.
Yeah.
And so, from Acapulco, weird tournament, right? We had the food poisoning. We had like 5 of the top 5 players who were seated there sick with food poisoning. I heard from an inside source. It was like all these guys. Somehow it seems like Denis Shapovalov avoided it and all these other guys avoided it. And then, it was Shapo was, I think pretty tired by the end of that tournament. He'd won 8 matches in a row. That's just a lot of tennis.
Right.
So, if he can come in and have a bit more of a break from losing in the semifinals than if he had gone and won it, come into Indian Wells a little bit more rested, that helps him, and then that's going to be fine. I think he would have taken a semifinal appearance from the beginning of that tournament if it was offered.
Yeah, no, that dude. What I really want to know, and I'm surprised it never leaked, was exactly what everybody ate.
Okay, well, I asked a coach of one of those top guys. I think people can probably figure it out who it is, and he said there wasn't one food, but he did say the next day after all that broke, there was no more open buffet, and all the servers were wearing gloves when they weren't before. So
it could have been at the hotel.
Oh, it was. No, because the thing with Acapulco that people don't understand is it's a dangerous city. It's like actually like a sketchy. I don't want to like the people who live there. It's like, anyways, everyone stays at one hotel. All the players stay at one thing, and they get I believe they just get shuttled to the tennis court and back. Like it's all controlled. So that's the craziest part. That's why I'm like, it's not like they're all staying at different hotels. Everyone is at the same. So I don't know how some of these guys got it and some didn't. But yeah, you got to be. That's not the first time. Like for Tommy Paul, that's 2 years in a row that he's been like blowing out at that tournament, and it's affected his play.
Crazy.
So if we interview him in Miami, we'll get the lowdown on if he's going to risk going back to Acapulco again.
For real. Who was our winner in Santiago?
Yes, and in Santiago, Laszlo Jere won Santiago ATP 250 over Sebastian Baez. Didn't see much of that tournament, but another one of those great South American tournaments on the clay, ending out the golden swing there. So yeah, let's go to the WTA. Before we talk about their rebrand, Emma Navarro wins Merida. Did you see this, JP?
6-0.
WTA 500, 6-0, 6-0 over Arango.
Were you able to see any of the highlights or anything?
No.
Neither was I, and I'm guessing because there probably was none. Didn't it last like 58 minutes or something?
Oh yeah, that was a full-on chopping, double bagel. I did look at it though. I want to say Arango, haven't seen her play before, but I did look at her results through that week, and except for the first round, every other match was a long 3-setter. So it looked like a physical week. Maybe she was just completely cooked at the end there, but Emma Navarro is a savage, so she wouldn't. I don't think she'd throw in like a pity game there, which clearly she didn't.
Yeah, definitely not. And was that her first 500?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think it might have been her first tournament.
I think it was because I'm trying to look it up right now. I thought I was seeing some things about it, but I'm kind of struggling pulling it up.
All good. In the meantime, I can talk about no, I think that is her.
It's the biggest title of her life. See, this is what I'm saying. It's the biggest title of her career, regardless. Yeah. South Carolina girl as well, which is huge.
Crazy. You guys are on top right now. And then what else with the WTA? We got the Pegula, Jessie Pegula wins in Austin, WTA 250 over Kessler.
Matthew McConaughey in attendance at least one of the matches.
Really?
Yes. He tweeted at Pegula, great win. Looking forward to the next one. She responded back to him. But I got to believe the story out of this tournament has to be Pegula offering the doubles champions and I think runner-ups a ride to Indian Wells on her private jet afterwards, because she overheard a conversation of, okay, maybe we're going to have to leave out of Houston. The best flight, another good flight is out of Dallas, like all of these crazy flight options. And she's like, hey, y'all hop on. Let's just come with me. Like that. That's what we love to hear.
That is legendary. She's like, yo, the jet is getting gassed up as we speak. You guys can ride with me.
Dude, so the tennis players, they show love on the private jets. We see so many selfies taken with these guys after a final, riding with the person they just beat.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the ultimate, I don't even know if the runner or if Kessler was on that plane with her, but it's kind of the ultimate, like, hey, I just whooped you. Now you can come get on this plane too.
Yeah. Come sit on my plane.
Right. Come to daddy or mommy, however they want to say.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a great story. Feel good story. I would be nervous if Matthew McConaughey was watching me, just because I have a huge man crush on him.
I know, man. Well, honestly, he hadn't been in anything recently.
No, that's true. And that's true. He hasn't been in much that I've seen recently, but it was with the Oscars like last night or last week.
Oscars were last night. Did you watch any of it?
No, I didn't. Did you?
Yeah, I watched some of it. I saw my boy Adam Sandler, greatest moment of the night. Conan O'Brien did a great job hosting the show, but this was obviously a planned bit. You know, Adam Sandler is known for being seen on the internet in his baggy shirt, long shorts. Yeah. Like he could play a pickup basketball game in the early 2000s at any time. And he was wearing that exact outfit in the Oscars crowd and in between people in the tuxes. And Conan kind of calls him out. And Adam Sandler's like, nobody noticed anything about me until you called it out, Conan. And does a big scene and then walks off. And dude, to me, it was just so good because the Oscars can be so uptight with some of those crowd. And
Oh yeah.
Talk about like I love movies, but that's got to be some of the weirdest people all stacked in the same room.
Yeah, for real. I mean, they're all like, if they're there winning like best actor, they're all like freakishly good at what they do, and they're just like, some of them are just total weirdos for that. But I think, I don't know if there's the guy who won best actor, but the guy who's like, my wife said if I win an Oscar, we're making another baby. Like that guy's he's my G. That is so sick.
Dude, that was probably the best speech of the night. The James Bond tribute was incredible, but Adrian Brody, he won best actor.
Oh, okay.
For like a World War II movie. I'm forgetting the name of it, but dude, his speech, it was so long. And I'm all about like, these guys deserve their moment. You just win the award they've worked their whole life to get. This is his second time winning it. But dude, he kept on saying throughout the speech, because they would bring the music on and he's like, no, like, trust me, I won't take long. I won't be egregious with this. But I just need to say this.
Yeah.
And he said, I won't take long, probably 5 times. And then it went down as the longest Oscar speech in Oscar history.
They must have been pissed.
The advertisers were pissed.
Oh, that's funny. He's like, well, he's not getting it again. But
yeah, hey, Adrian Brody, I guess he wouldn't need to do a rebrand since he just won the best. I mean, he is an awesome actor. I love all of his movies. But somebody who did rebrand was the WTA. What were your thoughts on their promotional video that they put out?
I liked it. I didn't see anything wrong with that. What was it? Like, I saw, but I forget what happened. What was in the promotional video?
They were just hyping up a lot of the current players, like
tennis.
Yeah. But they didn't really call back as much to the past, which I kind of think is a good move.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I think is there from a video perspective clean, but from just the branding and the logo, I think, I don't know about you, but I see like mostly negative thoughts on the branding, and I don't mind it at all. I don't see what the problem is with it
at all, man. And to me, yeah, and I feel like I'm not great with graphic design by any means. If I want to start something, I go to ChatGPT. Hey, give me 20 examples of a logo that I could use for a brand about this. Gives me the things, and I break it down. But I'm with you. I watched the video. I'm into it. The logo comes on at the end of it, and I'm seeing it getting posted. I'm like, okay, the WTA is bringing some juice to their sport, some much needed juice.
Yes. And I was going to say sorry, were you going to say something?
No, you're good. I had an article that I lost, but I'm going to pull it back up.
Well, like the word, so it says like WTA in pretty bold letters, and that's like the whole logo now. And they used to have a logo and then say WTA. But if you look at like anything in the world right now, there's no logos anymore. It's just words in like a specific type of font. And so even the ATP, you look at it, it's just ATP. It's just the words ATP. So the WTA will now look better on the net during those matches. And I just think it's clean. Like it looks pretty futuristic, but not crazy at all. A good comparison is, do you remember when Kia rebranded to their current logo and they're a huge sponsor of the Australian Open? And I remember thinking, I was like, that is crazy. Like that's
me too.
I can't even read it. Like people are like, that's so, but now I look at it, I'm like, that's a great looking logo. And it's like they were like going 2 years into the future, which is crazy if you think about it from like because they spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars developing that logo. And they like go into the future and they're like, people will come around this way. And
it evolved, man. And the car, like Kia's cars now look luxurious.
The brand's upgraded for sure since that old logo, for sure.
And so hopefully WTA sees those same results. I saw this article during the 2024 season, on-site attendance at WTA events increased by 15%, while the cumulative global audience grew by 10% to a record 1.1 billion on television and streaming. And the WTA also saw its followers across its social channels increase by 25%.
It's awesome. 2024, good year for the WTA. And what if you had to pick, just thinking off the top of your head, what would you say are the main reasons for that, as far as like personalities and stuff in the sport? Like it seems like they have a lot of great stars right now that they can lean on.
Dude, the personalities are incredible, and from all different places too. Like you have Coco Gauff, who is young, fun. We've known about her for a long time, but she's still 21 years old. Sabalenka, from across the pond, one of the best
From where?
personalities. What's that?
Like, from where?
From Russia.
Belarus.
I
But
know.
you wouldn't know because there's no flag there. So it's fair enough.
Yeah. And then Pegula, like, I don't know, they just have so many good females that have great personalities on
Yeah.
the internet, in person, at the tournaments. There's also like there's conflict, and conflict is so good for the sport. Like,
Yeah.
you know that certain players don't like each other. You know when to tune into an Ostapenko match, even though I don't think she made the video. She should have, but you tune into these rivalries. And I think it's great.
Ostapenko bouncing around in her Barney outfit,
Yeah,
just
imagine.
destroying the world number 2 Iga Swiatek.
Dudes, yeah. So they've got a great cast of players right now.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, no, so just that whole brand to me, it's fresh. It's got the WTA headed. Like, when I literally have both tabs up on my computer, like ATP and WTA, and like the logos are very similar. And I know they're doing that because they're eventually going to kind of like merge, etc. And they kind of have already, but yeah, it just looks much cleaner, and the branding is just fresher than it used to be. It used to be like, if you go to their website, it's still a bunch of purple on it, but it's not as like they kind of got more of this like green, Anyways, I think it's all positive. People love to criticize. It's so funny. It's like, yeah, I would love to see you go and make a better WTA brand, Mr. Twitter.
Oh man,
Twitter user.
Right. Twitter user at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
But I'm going to need your help on this next topic because you know a lot more than me about this type of thing. But the Indian Wells surface change, I know people seem to be fired up about it online. What can you tell me about it?
Yeah. So the big news with Indian Wells this year, other than the draw, Jannik Sinner not being there, which this actually he would have loved this change, is the Indian Wells has changed surface providers. So they used to have one company doing it, and I'm bringing it up right now, and now they have the same company that does Miami and the US Open to do the court surfaces at Indian Wells. 1 second here. So Indian Wells historically, if you didn't know, has been a grittier, slower hard court surface than almost every other every other hard court event. I looked up a guy and I thought they would have the name of the brands there. It doesn't really matter unless you work for one of these court servicing companies. But yeah, so that's historically been slow, high bouncing. So it's kind of been like the closest thing to a clay court that's a hard court. And now there's a bunch of different opinions on this because people think that, I guess what I saw Gil Gross put out on Twitter, that the Indian Wells statement was this, quote, "By tailoring our courts to match the playing conditions, we've enabled tennis to move seamlessly around the world. This cross-continental consistency ensures that within and between events, all courts are equal and the tennis comes down to the players. That's good for everyone." And he was saying that that's not really what anyone cares about or wants. Like, he was saying that people like the variety. Like, and I agree with that. I think it doesn't bother me too much, but like, it's hard to win the Sunshine Double like Indian Wells and Miami because they're two different types of surface. Like, but they're both hardcore. But so for example, Carlos Alcaraz has won the last 2 Indian Wells, and he plays with a lot of spin. He can use that to his advantage, the slower, grittier court, because he can keep the ball in front of him and uses variety to like hurt opponents. The Miami court's faster, slicker. Jannik Sinner comes out there, pounds the ball. That's more of a favorite surface for him. So now I guess they're essentially the same surface. There's going to be a difference because Miami's like oceanside,
right,
and Indian Wells is in the desert. So maybe Indian Wells will be in general faster now because it's like higher elevation and thinner air. But I don't know. But I think they're also Indian Wells. My theory on this is that Indian Wells could have changed the surface. They say it's to have consistency between tournaments. I think it's the balls have gotten slow and heavy, and players hate it, and then match that with the slow, gritty, high bouncing courts that were in Indian Wells, and it just becomes like a pillow fight. And I think it becomes hard to watch on TV when these rallies get dragged out and the players get tired and they get injured. So I wonder if they quickened the speed of the courts to kind of reduce the effect of the slower balls on tour, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you know who's going to be the most excited about this?
Who?
Medvedev.
Totally.
Because he has publicly criticized Indian Wells in the past, calling it a disgrace to the hard courts. And now, Medvedev, this is your opportunity to show them that it was the court's fault that you weren't winning the tournament. Yes. That everybody was out to get you, and you are the hard court specialist that deserves to be playing on the proper hard court so you can get proper hard court results. Lock it in, man. Medvedev futures. He needs to win Indian Wells.
Yeah, like that. I love that quote. He goes, "I'm a hardcore specialist." He's like saying it to everybody. He's like, "I'm a specialist. I know this." He's like, "This is not a hardcore." Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if he can find his game as well at Indian Wells. Quicker surface, good vibes in Indian Wells. We will not be there because we have personal beef with the tournament. Vice versa. Anyways, maybe in the future, but we will be in Miami. So I think that's kind of all we have to talk about the Indian Wells surface change. There's not much more to go to that. I guess leave your comments down below. Like, what do you guys think? Does this change upset you that they're making all the hard courts more similar? Or are you like, it doesn't really matter? The conditions are still different from Indian Wells to Miami. One's in the desert, one's beside the ocean. The air quality, the humidity is way different. The wind's probably different. Let us know in the comment section below and we'll react to it on next week's show.
I've got a question for you before we hit these comments real quick.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like we have not talked about him. I don't know how much you've watched him, but he took out Zverev in Acapulco. What do we think about Lerner Tien? This is the reason I'm thinking about it is because Indian Wells, California, home state tournament for the young stud, the 19-year-old. And I mean, he seems everybody's high on him. I know I'm high on him, but what have you kind of seen if you have watched him?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen mostly just highlights. I don't think I've watched a full match of his, but obviously an amazing talent as a young guy. I think 19 years old still.
19.
Yeah, he's got that like man's body. I would say like he's got some thickness to him where he can like last through these longer matches. And yeah, he beat Daniil Medvedev at the Australian Open in 5 sets. Like that takes serious guts. Like a lot of these younger players, they just end up cramping or physically breaking down over the course of a 5-set match because they have no experience playing that many sets. And then you saw it with like Holger Rune and even Alcaraz. A bunch of these players like take time to adjust to the 5-set format, but he's done well. Yeah, he beat Medvedev in Australia. He beats Zverev in Acapulco. So I think he'll be a great player on the ATP Tour for a long time. Earlier sorry, go ahead.
He's kind of climbing his way up in that. I'm starting to see his name more in the next American to win a Grand Slam. They're like, maybe we need to be looking at Lerner Tien as being the guy that could get it done.
I love it. Well, I was about to kind of maybe rain on that parade a little bit, but that is an American. Where is he? I'm trying to look at him he's 32 in the race he's got the 32nd amount of points out of anyone on the ATP Tour this year. He's ranked 68 currently. But yeah, he's got a great game. I think his ceiling's like not that high though. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to be a controversial take, but like he's very good, but I can see him being like one of those players where I don't see him as like a shoe-in. We've said it way too many times in the past. This guy's going to win majors. Like a lot of these guys aren't going to win majors. Like Alcaraz and Sinner, you're going to have to beat Alcaraz or Sinner. So
right,
or both of them, and then other guys on the way there as well. So I don't know, but we were talking earlier about don't quit on talent like Felix, Dennis, Tsitsipas. Does Lerner Tien have the upper echelon offensive game like those guys? No chance. But he's got a different style of game. He's got the Medvedev style. He's left-handed, I believe. He's left-handed, right?
Lefty.
And yeah, he's got that grinding ability. But I do think there's always like he's winning and he's got confidence and momentum. Let's see what happens when he starts losing a bit and his ranking starts to go down. How do they recover? Different guys will come up, different guys go down. Like to me, he kind of reminds me a bit of like a Cam Norrie.
Okay, yeah.
But Cam Norrie had a great season a few seasons ago, and then he's kind of just really cooled off, kind of back to where he was before that. So I don't know, some of these players, and it's like if you're like a career top 20 guy or top 30, you like float between the top 10 and the top 30. Nothing wrong with that, but that's kind of where I see him. But again, love to prove me wrong, learner. Make a student out of me.
Right. And then I said that was going to be the last thing, but I don't know if you already discussed this in one of your other videos. If you have, we don't even need to touch it, but I did see you tweet about it, and a lot of people were tweeting about it. But David Goffin and Ben Shelton.
Yes.
Did you talk about it?
I didn't talk about it I didn't talk about it. So I want to talk about it, but I want to hear you talk about it because I love it. Like to me, it's just like,
man, it was so good.
You know, all these memes, it's like the American mind can't comprehend this, or that's like the European mind cannot comprehend this. Like, I mean, a lot of European players grunt. So to be fair, that's one thing, especially on the women's side. But like this Ben Shelton thing where he'll like win a point and the point's like microseconds over and he's like, ah! It's like kind of like, it's like an annoying yell, I would call it.
Right.
Like it's not like hey or like something that's like normal. He's just like, ah! Like you're like, what are you doing? And then David Goffin, if you didn't see us, go look it up. He's just like does it back. He was like, like he sailed back.
And the cheeky smile at the end of it is what I love the most, because at first, he keeps sort of the same facial expression the whole entire time. Even when he did like his first yell, when he was like made his noise, and then he's walking over and he just hits the and it keeps going. I was like, oh, this dude, this is elite level trolling right now.
Yeah.
And then to get the dub, I know it probably felt so good for him.
To me, that's like American muscle versus like European intelligence and finesse. Like David Goffin is smaller than me. He's skinnier than me. Like he's a small guy,
wall.
But he's a beast. And he's been, I believe, top 10. And he's beaten all the big three, if you didn't know that. So he's beaten Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic before. Like awesome player. He's been coming back, and his career probably was almost over at one point, but he was in Winnipeg at the Challenger when I was there. And we did a little interview with him. He's on the Slice. So he's a friend of the show. That was epic. Put Ben in his place there a little bit with that. Yeah, and got the dub. So yeah, I love it. But
yeah, career high number 7 that was reached in November of 2017.
Yeah. Yeah. He's one of those players who like embodies what tennis is. It's like you don't have to be a freak athlete to be amazing.
Dude, now check this out though. So he is 34 years old.
Yeah.
And his career prize money is 18.1 million. Dennis is 25 years old and his career prize money is 13 million.
Yeah.
To me, I would think David Goffin has he would have made more money than that. Goffin.
Yeah, well, the crazy thing is the money gets more and more every year for every tournament. Right. So it's not like adjusted for inflation, which is funny. So like Djokovic has way more prize money than Federer, but they've won, but that's because Federer's winning way more like earlier on when prize money was way less. So there's definitely a bit of that, but so yeah, that's got to be like the only thing, to be honest, in my opinion. But yeah, because like I don't know how that works, because like I don't think Dennis has ever been ranked number 7 in the world.
Yeah, so, as high as number 10, I think.
Goffin's almost had a more successful career even to this point. So or he probably definitely has. But I also don't think Goffin's ever made semifinals of a major. So Shapovalov has. So that Wimbledon coin is serious when it comes down to that Great British pound.
Yes, it is different. The Wimbledon coin is different.
Wimbledon coin.
Do we want to get into the YouTube comments?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. So, YouTube comments. Thank you for leaving them on the last episode of the Slice Tennis Podcast. We've got a little bit of like a kind of like a love ping pong battle here with Geo Air Travel. He says, heart. Thanks for the mention again under the listeners' comments segment. Smile, sweat, keep up with your cool pod, and then 2 sunny sunglasses faces.
We'll take it, man. We'll take it all day, every day.
We'll take it, man. We appreciate you, Geo Air Travel. And if you keep reacting to our comments, then it's going to be like this never-ending. We'll react to your comment, and you'll react to it again. So maybe just take next week off, or just say something else.
We see how long we can go.
Or yeah, let's see how long we can go, Geo. Make a comment, and 5 years later, we will. We'll see who lasts longer on this earth.
Yeah. Right now, I believe this is week 3.
Yes.
So let's keep it going. I would love to see us get to week 100.
That would be awesome. Week 100 would be crazy. We'd have to go air travel. Maybe it's a travel agent service. I don't know what Geo Air Travel is. Let us know. We'll react to it next week, and we'll have to maybe meet up. That'd be great. Sophia Cuevas CAJ says, "Hey, love your channel, Starface. In which platform do you watch Grand Slams in Canada?" Good question, Sophia. I responded, and we said TSN. So our friends at TSN own the rights to all the majors and all the ATP tournaments outside of the Rogers Cup, the National Bank Open, which I actually think they might have just acquired. Anyway, so yeah, TSN in Canada, we love them.
Next one, Dr. Fearfall. This one, I believe, is directed at me for how I was saying Tsitsipas. That sounds correct, maybe.
Yes.
And I think last week, maybe I said Tsitsipas. And
Tsitsipas. Yeah, I think you were just getting a little hung up on the little. I don't even know.
It could be a little bit of my southern accent. It also, we were looking on the website.
Blame it on the accent. Now he feels bad.
Yeah. And I was here. It's funny how it works, because when you hear him say his name on the website, you hear Tsitsipas. When I heard it, I was hearing more of a T.
Right.
So, hey, but for bloody hell, I'm getting it right.
I thought it was like, I was gonna type it out in there. I was like, to me, it goes sit. Like, it's just like sit down is the first one. Sit. That's what. And then it's like, I was gonna say sit C, but it's not C. It's not sit C pass. It's right. It's like sit si. It's like take a sip, but don't hit the P.
Sit pass.
Oh yeah, sit pass. Sit sip ass. That sounds weird.
All right, Steven.
Sit sip ass. Sit to pass.
Make sure Shepard doesn't watch this episode.
Don't watch this. And not safe for work. We're sipping ass.
So, hey, for anybody wondering how we got so off the rails, you can blame Dr. Fearfall.
Did that help, Dr. Fearfall? Are we correct? Why don't you make a YouTube video talking about how to correctly pronounce his name, Stefanos's name, and then, or just, do the, spell it out for us like I did. Sit, sip ass. Say it all fast. It'll come all right.
It all flows. And I think we got 2 left. We
gotta move on. Yeah, 2 left. Who do you got?
I got we got this one from Film Miker.
Okay.
Yeah, Film Miker, we'll go with Film Miker, and it is Miami. Ask why not find a permanent facility.
That's a good question. So they used to be in Key Biscayne, which is like it's like the south, I think, as you can go. It's like this little island off of like downtown Miami, which that does seem like the most elite place to do it in Miami. Like, it's so sick. You're like close to the Brickell Strip, like you're close to downtown. But I think the reason they moved was that facility was wearing down, and like whoever owned the tournament at that time, which I think it became IMG later on, wasn't gonna. There was like capacity issues there, and parking issues, I think, and like
that's what I was gonna say, because I've been on Key Biscayne.
Oh, have you? Okay.
There is no way a major tournament could sustain being held there with how the traffic would be awful, because it's one bridge to get there,
right?
And then barely anybody. I mean, it's a cool island, and like, it has everything you need on it, but it's not big. And I can't even imagine them having enough hotels to like fit everybody coming in. So you had to move it from there. And I like Hard Rock. I mean, I think it's like a cool setup.
Yeah. And have you've been to Hard Rock before, to the setup? Yeah. So we've both been, and it is kind of like a permanent place for it now, because they have all the outside courts outside of the stadium are there. They're like, they don't move during the year. And then it's the F1. It's the F1 venue as well. F1 Miami, right?
Yep.
So hopefully we don't have F1 prices for food when we're there, because I've seen some crazy stuff. But no, I think it's good. Like I would say the stadium in Miami it's like a bit weird. Like I don't I like it when it's a single purpose venue. I think that's objectively better. But it's not bad. So you get stadium seats. They got the big matches. It's I like the court colors. And then the courts setups that they have outside. It's been 6 years since I've been there, which is crazy, but they've got some nice smaller outside courts where like the fans are right on top of it and you get these good matches. And it's not actually a huge area outside of the stadium. Is that right? Like all the courts are fairly close together, aren't they?
Yeah. When you were there, did you watch Dennis versus Tiafoe by any chance?
No, I don't think so. Where was that?
That was on one of the outside courts, but it was an epic match. And that was the first time I had ever seen. That was like my first tennis tournament I'd ever been to. This was right around the time that I was getting into tennis. And I was watching with my friend because we knew of Tiafoe because he was American. Yeah. He was doing stuff with the Wizards. And then we could not figure out how to say Dennis's last name. And we're just like, yo, who is this? Like another young kid from Canada. He is a stud. And we were just very entertained by him. And then of course you fast forward like 2 months and that's when I meet Dennis at IMG. And then I finally put it all together. I'm like, yo, the first pro tennis match I ever watched was actually him versus Tiafoe. And then I met him a few months later.
And what year was that? Was that 2019?
2019, yeah.
And I think Dennis made semifinals that week and lost to Federer.
He did.
He got cooked by Federer, and he was like, always talks about that match being like, that was like, it looked like he wasn't even trying. He just like made me hate myself.
He's like, sweat, bro, please.
He's like, sweat. That's awesome. Yeah, well, that's good memories, good vibes going into Miami. I think we have one more YouTube comment.
We do, from Claudita.
Okay, and then this is probably gonna open a bit of a can of worms here, but I'll read it out. Claudita 23 says, gonna be the bad guy or girl with this statement. As sweet and endearing Bopana's post was, it was based on feelings, not facts, and did not provide an objective argument. Well, I think that's fairly obvious. I don't think Bopana thought he was doing an objective take, but doubles does not generate the revenue to equal the prize money. Bopana's charity to his country is amazing. However, one could say that there are singles players who are also very charitable. I love playing and watching doubles, so I'm not saying let's do away with it. Simply from a debate standpoint, Opelka wins. Don't hate me, y'all. Open to hearing arguments from both sides.
Love Claudita already.
Yeah.
This is a well level-headed human that she has her feeling about it. She's open to hear others, and she wants to have the conversation for the sake of everybody at the end of the day is on the same team. And that team is we're pro tennis. We want tennis to do well. We want the players to be compensated fairly. We want the product to be as good as it can be.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think she's pretty much bang on. It's kind of hard to argue that doubles tennis does not pay its own bills. The business case does not really make sense. So Opelka is right. But, again, I think like what we said last time on the podcast is he could probably go about it in a less douchey way, to be honest. But you got to ruffle feathers. And I do think like having the full, I don't know, maybe just two separate tours would be better.
Honestly, if people do feel very passionate one way or the other, say if tennis fans are like, man, why would Riley Opelka do this? Maybe it will encourage them like, okay, yeah, we'll show him. We'll show up to the doubles matches and we will make that stadium go nuts and we'll show, hey, this is why it's worth it. So hopefully that's what happens. Then for Opelka, everybody would have to come back to him and say, thank you. Everybody wins.
Everyone, thank you, thank you, Mr. Opelka. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Opelka.
Yeah. How's Europe there? And he's like, shut up. All right. Well, I think that's all we got this week, JP.
That's all we got. We're excited for Indian Wells. We'll have a lot more going on as Indian Wells picks up. This was a little bit of a slower week on the tennis front, but we're stoked. We're entering, like we said, this is a great time of the year for tennis, and we can't freaking wait to be in Miami.
Yes. We will see you guys next time here on the Slice Tennis Podcast. Thanks for subscribing, commenting, and we'll catch you next time.